So who's investigating the government officials that are committing crime? Anybody? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So I want to do a quick hit on this question. Who is investigating the government officials that are committing crime? Who polices them, right? Who holds them accountable? So last night I had the pleasure of being on MSNBC with Lawrence O'Donnell, The Last Word, and we did a one-on-one about the latest New York Times reporting about Donald Trump apparently committing yet more tax crimes, tax evasion, possible campaign finance violations. I know we're all shocked. And I had the opportunity to chat with Lawrence about several of Donald Trump's crimes, right? From campaign finance violations and a conspiracy to violate campaign finance laws together with Michael Cohen, right? Michael Cohen already pled guilty to it, so a novice prosecutor could prove those criminal charges against Donald Trump in his or her sleep. There are as many as 10 counts of obstructing justice, meticulously documented by Bob Mueller in Volume 2 of his Trump-Russia report. There are countless charges for obstructing congressional inquiries when Donald Trump tells all executive branch officials do not comply with lawfully issued congressional subpoenas. There's witness tampering when Donald Trump is sending out intimidating tweets about Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch while she is actually testifying before Congress. There's bribery and extortion of President Zelensky, which I'll talk more about in a minute. There are countless conspiracies to defraud the United States, too many to list, and there are tens of thousands of potential offenses of either involuntary manslaughter or negligent homicide for Donald Trump's complete abdication on the coronavirus front. There are so many crimes that Donald Trump committed, and as I said last night on air with Lawrence, you can only confine a man, imprison a man for but one lifetime. So the prosecutors in January will get to pick and choose, an abundance of riches of criminal behavior by Donald Trump. But here's the thing. We know that the Department of Justice, Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, says we can't indict a sitting criminal president. And I'm sure that's what the founders of our country, of our republic, contemplated, right? I'm sure they got together and said, yeah, the president of this new government, we want that person to be above the law. We want that person to be able to commit all the crimes he wants to commit while in office, and we do not want law enforcement to be able to touch him. No arrests, no indictments, no trials. In fact, I'm sure they contemplated, we think it's okay if the president, in the run-up to an election, kills or imprisons his political opponent, right? And then he gets to run unopposed, he gets reelected, and he still can't be arrested, indicted, or tried. That's the way we think this republic ought to work. Well, that's what the legal geniuses, the whiz kids at the Office of Legal Counsel, thinks it's the right way to go. That's the way we ought to run our government. And that is what has given us 4 horrific years living under a criminal president and a criminal administration. Thank you, OLC. Thank you, Bill Barr. But here's the thing, folks. You know what the OLC memo doesn't say? It doesn't say you can't indict a sitting criminal attorney general. It doesn't say you can't indict a sitting criminal secretary of state or any other cabinet member for that matter. But you're probably 2 steps ahead of me, because here's the problem You know who polices the executive branch? The cabinet officials? The executive branch polices the executive branch. Bill Barr polices Bill Barr. Look where that's gotten us. You know, we've learned our lesson, at least in part, if we look at the analogous circumstances of police excessive force cases. We learned that if a police officer is accused of committing excessive force against a citizen, we don't let that police department to which that officer belongs investigate it. Why? Well, because at best, it will breed intense public distrust of the investigation and the outcome, and at worst, it leads to corrupt cronyism. We've seen that before, right? Where a police department pronounces, we think our guy was good to go, no excessive force there. We've learned that lesson. We have a long way to go when it comes to police reform, but that's a lesson we've learned. Usually outside agencies will investigate accusations of police excessive force. But where we sit presently, the executive branch polices the executive branch. Now, I've been talking for a year or two now about the need for an independent commission. I call it the Trump Crimes Commission. Congressman Eric Swalwell has been calling it the Presidential Crimes Commission. He's more politic than I am. We need an independent commission because when the executive branch is responsible for policing the executive branch, when Bill Barr gets to police Bill Barr's always going to clear himself, right? Bill Barr is not going to hold himself accountable. And as we've learned, because Bill Barr is Donald Trump's protector, defense attorney, fixer, enabler, he's not going to hold Donald Trump accountable, nor will he go after any of Donald Trump's corrupt cabinet members. We've seen this. We've learned this. But you know what I hope, folks? I sure hope Chris Wray's FBI is investigating Bill Barr as we speak, is investigating Mike Pompeo as we speak, is investigating any of Donald Trump's cabinet officials that they have evidence may have committed crime. I hope the FBI is investigating them as we speak. I don't pretend charges are going to be brought before the election or even before Donald Trump leaves office in January, but I hope the FBI has been doing its job independent of Bill Barr. And yes, Bill Barr as the Attorney General is over the top of the FBI, but the OLC memo does not say that you can investigate and hold accountable a criminal attorney general, Secretary of State, or any other cabinet member. And I hope that's underway. And I do trust Chris Wray, and I have always trusted the FBI. I worked with them when I was a federal prosecutor. I have great respect for them. Do they have problems? Yes. Can they do better sometimes? Yes. But I have trust and confidence in Chris Wray's FBI. What would Bill Barr be investigated for? Well, we don't have enough time, but think about just some of what he did. He ordered the gassing of peaceful protesters to clear the way for a presidential photo op. These protesters were not threatening anybody or anything, not people, not property. What they were doing is exercising their First Amendment right to free speech, to peaceably assemble, to petition the government for a redress of grievances. They were exercising their constitutionally protected rights, and Bill Barr assaulted them. That's the word for that. An unnecessary gassing. That was an assault. Assault also happens to be criminal. That should be investigated by the FBI. Let me go back to the President Zelensky thing, because there's just no doubt that what we learned about the dirty deal that Donald Trump was trying to strike with President Zelensky was a crime, and Bill Barr, according to Donald Trump, was part and parcel of it. Here's how. It was a bribery. It was an attempted bribery. Technically, it was a solicitation of a bribe. Why do I say that? Well, soliciting a bribe is just when a government official tries to do an official act in exchange for a thing of personal value. Here's what Donald Trump did. He's a government official. He's the president. He had this pot of congressional money that had been designated by Congress to go to Ukraine so that country could protect itself against unlawful Russian aggression. And instead of deliver it, Donald Trump withheld it and said, not so fast, President Zelensky. I need a favor, though. I want you to announce a false investigation into my political opponent, Joe Biden. What is that? That's a government official conditioning an official act, giving money, on a thing of personal value, a false investigation being announced into Trump's opponent. That's soliciting a bribe. What did Donald Trump say in the next breath? He said, and I want you to get with my man, Bill Barr, and my man, Rudy Giuliani. And the way that should be interpreted, the natural inference is, I want you to get with Bill Barr and Rudy Giuliani in furtherance of this dirty deal I'm trying to do with you. The president's own words put Bill Barr right smack in the middle of a conspiracy. And Bill Barr, I'm sure, has cleared himself, but I hope the FBI is investigating that, is investigating what he ordered done to the protesters in Lafayette Park, and any number of other things that we don't have time to discuss. I hope the FBI is looking into Mike Pompeo right now. Mike Pompeo was also all kinds of involved in what was going on with that Ukrainian endeavor, as was Mick Mulvaney, who said, yeah, we do this kind of quid pro quo all the time. Get over it. Well, I would tell Mick Mulvaney, you might want to get over the fact that we arrest people for conspiracy all the time. I did when I was a federal prosecutor. What else did we learn about Mike Pompeo? Again, we don't have time to catalog everything he's done, but remember when he did that shady $8 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia, kind of bypassing Congress? And then he was being investigated for it by the Inspector General at the Department of State, and he fired the Inspector General, seemingly to put an end to that investigation into him. Then he told the American people, I didn't fire him. That was the president, until Donald Trump couldn't stick with the script and said, what do you mean I fired him? Mike Pompeo told me to fire him. I never even met the Inspector General. And then Congress decided to investigate all of that, to get to the bottom of what Mike Pompeo was doing, and they subpoenaed multiple State Department employees with lawfully issued congressional subpoenas. And Mike Pompeo told the employees not to comply with those lawfully issued congressional subpoenas. I mean, come on. So I hope the FBI is digging in right now. We may not hear about the results of any investigation that is underway until after January, but boy, when the executive branch is responsible for policing the executive branch, we now know that's a recipe of disaster. I just hope the FBI is taking its work very seriously to hold criminal cabinet members accountable. And here's the thing, folks. We're about 3 weeks away from an election, and what you can do with your vote when you vote for Joe Biden, you're not just voting to get rid of Donald Trump so that the feds can begin prosecuting him, and I suspect many state jurisdictions will begin prosecuting him come January. But you're not just getting rid of Donald Trump. You're getting rid of his whole criminal cabal. You're getting your one vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris gets rid of Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Bill Barr, Mike Pompeo, Mick Mulvaney, Steve Mnuchin, Betsy DeVos, Wilbur Ross, Andrew Wheeler, Louis DeJoy. I know I'm missing some, but if ever your vote had a whole lot of bang for its buck, it's now. It is now. And that's why we're going to get out. We're going to vote in numbers too big to rig. in numbers too real to steal. And we're going to vote not only Donald Trump, but his whole criminal cabal out. And then in January, we can start working on justice, right? No bygones be bygones, no turning the other cheek, no putting the long national nightmare behind us by declining to hold all the criminals accountable. We tried that with Richard Nixon. It didn't work so good. Come January, we move toward justice. And justice matters. It matters. Folks, as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you want to support our efforts and our content, please consider going to patreon.com and becoming a patron. There are a number of levels you can sign up for with different benefits. And I want to say a big thank you to my friend Peter Sobey, who put together the new intro for our Justice Matters videos and now the new outro. And I also want to thank my friend David Bearwald, whose music he generously let me use for the outro, a song called Liberty Lies. If you don't know David Bearwald, the musician, please check him out. You might remember his hit back in the 80s, Welcome to the Boomtown, when he was one half of David and David. He's put out several solo albums. David Bearwald, I urge you to look him up. He's a remarkable artist. And as always, folks, please stay safe. And I look forward to talking with y'all tomorrow.